everybody. Welcome to the Bordweall Broadcasting Company, episode 47, D&SS, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We have Naslim D and myself, Renegade, and we have two audio guests, Alex and Duke. There was other things I was supposed to do, but this was jumped on me, so what was I supposed to say, Nas?
We gave you a full 90 seconds notice that you were the host tonight.
Oh,
come on now.
Goodness, that couldn't have went any worse.
Thanks. I ain't tried. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're talking about stuff tonight. I think we were going to talk about the placements that have happened, right? I prepared.
We are. I think we can get Noz to put up the domain and settlement selection map. If you're not aware that domain and settlement selection has started, shame on you. This is obviously, I think, probably the largest single event since kind of like Kickstarter and map voting, etc. But it's certainly been the most significant, I think, because we finally start to, we got to pick our maps, and that was important, and we saw the continents and everything, and we picked our kingdoms way back when domain and settlement selection was to start back in, I think, end of April. And now we actually are finally putting our roots down. So let's maybe pop into Vornair first, Noz up at the top there, and have a look at Adam's amazing freaking situation that he has there. If you look at the size of the Rhinelands, they're huge. And I don't know what they are in terms of actual square meters or kilometers. I guess we could have checked and done some math, but just eyeballing it, it looks like it's a quarter of the entire kingdom, which is cool. It's in the Alpine tundra by the look of stuff.
Yeah, when you click on it, D, it says there's 66 of 72 available counties right now. So if that gives you any idea, there's 24 counties in a duchy. There's 72 counties there. I'm not going to do the math for you guys, but there's 66 still available in there.
Adam has placed 6 of them because the counts don't get to pick yet, naturally.
Yep.
But if you click down in that bottom right-hand corner at that kind of like that stronghold down in the bottom, we'll get an idea of the...
I think you have to go into the duchy.
I mean, his estimated population of those duchies in the Alpine tundra is like up to 22,000, which is huge. And if you look at his... That was it. If you look at his... Gartamber, if you look at the population...
Holy crap.
...of that stronghold... I mean, it is 997 to 2,170. That is a huge, huge population. I mean, he's got a ton of parcels. He's got, 226 to 200, is that 33 parcels around it? So, with the changes that they made with food resources up in the north, he might very well be able to sustain that. I'm just amazed as to the size of that settlement. Is he going to be able to sustain it all? Will he be able to start feeding his population before they start bleeding off to surrounding settlements just out of starvation? But if you think it's a rather clever thing, because if he's going to have, for example, I don't know what you'll have, a school, a university, an academy, whatever it'll be, for research and development, just imagine how many people he can designate towards doing research and development. I mean, he'll be able to probably outstrip with that settlement, most duchies just with that solo settlement. So it could be a pretty brilliant move on that part. And we'll just do a quick little plug out before I turn it over to the others to comment. We just posted up a little link there if you want to support our stream. Thank you very much. We got a number of subscribers from the last stream or two, which is very, very much appreciated. It's not, just to support the stream itself, but all of the things that we're doing here in Bordweall and, for the Bordweall community, and to a certain extent for the COE community in general. And that all helps. It really, really does. So many, many thanks. So, audio guest, do you have any comments about Adam's placement and the size of his? I want to say the size of his package. That might come across
Please
wrong.
say the size of his package.
Yeah, the size of his settlement. There you go.
Alex.
Bob? Okay, I'm here. So, in regards to the size of his county settlement, duchy, I mean, he's clearly going to have a significant advantage going into the start of the game, just based on sheer size. Now, like he said in his own stream, there's not much wood up there, so I don't see a whole lot of boats coming out of the Rhinelands, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's nothing really much to say about the Rhinelands. I mean, it definitely seems like it will have a lot in terms of mineral wealth and stone, and just like, resource wealth. I'm not, in terms of the size of the population, it's not really that surprising given the packages and like the stuff he was working with. So, I mean, as Soulbound sort of put out mechanically how it works, that's about the size I was expecting.
So you're saying he's always been working with a big package?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Indeed.
Nas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think that 2,000 little short people in one city is going to be quite a lot, but
some people, it's like you need a lot to work with.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm surprised
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ren.
I'm just kind of surprised it wasn't a delving, and now we know Adam is a hobbit.
A hobbit, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, his tribe was Harathi? That's the one he got?
Yeah, well, if you look, it's the population of his city is like 90% Hothri, and then I don't know about the duchy as a whole, but I think he's going to end up having to be a Hothri because of the capital. Maybe it's a county?
Well, I thought that it was according to what Soulbound said, it was based off of the majority tribe in your kingdom.
Well, the majority tribe in his duchy, at the very least, is definitely Harathi.
No. I get that. I'm just saying I thought that, and D probably would know more about this than I, since he is a king.
Even so, 43% Harathi has the majority over the entire kingdom.
Kingdom?
I mean,
the kingdom. That's the duchy. What's the kingdom, Pop?
No,
you are looking at MC.
Yeah, the duchy is 73 and the kingdom is 43. Harathi is the majority tribe throughout his kingdom. But I will say the point that interests me the most was his placement, right? So placing it right up against this Elysian border here, I had originally thought that he was going to place over here on the coast and push off and explore unknown lands. And he couldn't physically be further from the coast. He did a complete flip-flop. He's right smack up against the Elysian border now, and nowhere near water. So that to me kind of raised an eyebrow. It was not expected, but
it's definitely safe.
He definitely commented on those rivers into Elysia, though. So
did we know what the size of that settlement was originally? Like, was it because it was a fortification and not a civilian? Because I don't remember that.
I believe it was a fort, and it upgraded to a capital.
Substantially. It is substantially upgraded. He might have done that on purpose, because I can't imagine choosing a capital, what size that would have been from there. It probably would have been less sustainable. So picking small and upgrading probably was beneficial for him. Maybe? I don't know.
And I've been saying that all along too. People are expecting me to take a city and upgrade it to a capital. Why? I don't really need to. I can let one of my counts that don't have very much IP or EP for that matter place in that city, and I can upgrade a town to a capital, and as soon as I select the town, boom, it instantly upgrades to a capital. So why would I waste that city and make it a real large capital when I can take a little podunk town and turn that into something amazing, right? I just think for me, it's a waste for me to pick a large city and then upgrade that to a mega capital. It's just a waste. You have a nice city over there, let someone else use it, and you upgrade a little shit town into a big capital. But I mean, to each their own.
Do you think
I mean,
this is the largest city in the whole server, or do you think somebly else is going to end up with one bigger?
I don't really care who has the biggest. I don't.
Well, I'm just curious. Like, I wonder.
I'm giving you shit. Yeah.
I know you are. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I have to actually say that I am not. How do I put this politely? I'm not particularly impressed with some of the decisions the algorithm, which we've nicknamed Halgorithm, in a nod to Hal from Space Odyssey to 2001. Is that I'm not sure if it's not smarter to actually pick a hamlet or a village, and given how janky some of the county lines are and everything like that, I don't know how, because it's going to be the AI, it's going to be Hal that is going to be doing the algorithm for generating the settlements. And I'm not sure that I'd not rather start off actually with a smaller settlement and be able to customize and build it out the way that I want to build it out with the additional parcels, unless Hal is going to take over those additional parcels as well, in which case kind of like you're screwed as well. And, you'll get that little message, I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that. And,
I'm sorry, Dave, that I can't do this. I think I'm sort of taking it from the perspective of it really depends upon the situation a person finds himself in. If we're talking about whether taking a small settlement or taking a larger settlement, I think that, like anything in life, it really depends on a lot of factors. Taking a smaller settlement and building it up, like you were suggesting, Dee, comes with, of course, the benefits of you're able to place stuff where you want to place it. You can sort of like grow things to look like what you envision them in your head. But sometimes, I'm just thinking in terms of game mechanics and stuff like that. Sometimes it might just be better if you're unsure you could grow a settlement to a capital-sized settlement at some point in the future. I would say that sometimes it's just a safer bet to go out and say, okay, I'm going to take an already formed capital or city or fill in the blank, and that way I know for sure I'll have a city, and I don't have to sort of roll the dice with that. I think that at the I guess boiling down my answer, it depends on the situation the person finds themselves in.
Do you want to browse Alessia? Am I saying that right? Have I been saying it wrong
Yeah.
this entire time?
Alicia.
Yeah, we can we can browse Alicia and work our way down.
Everyone in Alicia just did a massive face palm. It's like,
sorry, I don't get out much.
It's like
They don't let me out of the kingdom very often.
So I think they've taken a couple of duchies here. If you mouse over them, Noz, we'll be able to see what they've got. I know that.
I think Zelia's the capital.
Oh, they've claimed quite a few now. There's 4 of them now are claimed.
Well, their placement's different, right? Like they just kind of have this completely different timetable, I think, than everybody else. No other dukes can place in there. It's just them.
No, they place by IP the same as everybody else does. What was different with Alicia is because they had the 6 dukes from the Free Kingdom event, and they have to place in there, and they weren't by the choice of the monarch. What they did is there were those, and then the monarch Verlaine could also reserve 6 duchies, which he did. And that's why basically, even if you wanted a rogue place inside Alesia, which is really, really a nice thing for them, you can't. So nobody can really mess with them, even if they wanted to. I'm not sure that any. I mean, theoretically you could mess if you were a duke and rogue place inside Vornair, but I mean, I think you're kind of just going to paint a big, circle and target on your forehead, saying, come take me and I'll go down in history as the first duke or duchess to lose their title,
Well,
or to lose
Are
their
there
land.
I
any
don't know.
rogues left?
I don't know if you tested this or not, but say, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Say they didn't actually reserve all 6 of their 6 reservable duchies. Say they only got 3 or 4 reserved. Maybe what we're looking at now is it. And the other 6 are from the Free Kingdom event, and there's still 2 of them out there, right?
Possible, but all the maps I've seen of Alesia show them all full.
Well,
I think
sure.
Starhaven was empty for a little while, but yeah.
those dukes, just because they're reserved, don't have to place there. They could rogue
It is
place
true.
out.
They could place somewhere else if they wanted to.
And then they'll be the first Duke or Duchess to lose their title, and then
I feel like, is Fortuna the only place you can rogue place without hostile intent or being greeted hostile?
Is it really rogue placing? I don't think they really have
I
any
don't-
plans.
I don't think they do. I think there's a couple who've declared that they're going to be there, but Fortuna is, I think, the only kingdom that said, "Hey, you just place here if you want to." Versus the rest are like, "You should probably talk to somebody first."
I think Fortuna is growing a decent sized following as of late. I don't know about any substantial numbers or anything, but I know there's several that are interested in dukes and counties over there. So I don't know. You may interrupt some of their plans. So, if you did intend to place there are people in the community of Fortuna that are intending to play there. And, if you disrupt their plans, you might upset them, but I think they are definitely the kingdom with more open availability at this point.
Yeah, I think it was Blah who was the one who didn't say that he didn't. I don't think he reserved anybody, did he?
I don't think he had anybody to reserve, because I think most of the people that are intending to take duchies there are hoping to take them during reverse auction.
Yeah, that's sort of what I've heard kicking around. A lot of the people I've heard saying they would place in Fortuna, I'll, take a duchy reverse, in the reverse auction.
Do we know how many reverse dukes there are for Luna?
Who knows?
It's a mystery. You should look at Fortuna. Or I was going to say how many. Yeah, Luna.
Like a Tootsie Pop, the world may never know.
So Blah already placed, right?
He did. He placed
Where did
in
he play?
Charmed Sands.
Where is that?
He was placed in the city right here,
Okay.
right next to Craven Cliff in Charmed Sands.
Is that a delving?
It is.
Yes.
I didn't know there were. Oh, yeah, because the Weird have delvings too, don't they?
Yes.
They have delvings in the mesas and the cliffs and everything. I like,
Jealous.
and we've moved on from Alesia, but I love Verlaine's placement of his capital, his kingdom capital, and I really like Blah's placement of his kingdom capital as well. It's a smart thing. It's got the defenses that come naturally in the desert. It's a delving, so you've got choke points because it's kind of like, it's going to be carved out into the cliffs and everything like that. Very defensible. The Weird themselves are civic as their main character trait, which generally speaking means they're very adept at building defensive buildings and structures. And they're, whereas they might not go out and be aggressive in terms of warriors, they're definitely kind of like, very defense minded. And I just love the idea of kind of like of a delving there in that mesa. I think it's a brilliant choice by him.
So Verlaine's probably going to be a Weird. I just want to know the tribes of all the kings.
You mean Blah?
Wait. Yes. Maybe?
Yeah.
Crap. Which one were we talking about? I thought
That was Blah's
okay.
capital we were just looking at.
I don't get out much.
Yeah,
So
Weird is
Blah
the
will be a
majority
Weird.
tribe for Fortuna.
Huh.
And
was
for
Selena.
Alicia, it is Naren, actually.
Oh,
Followed
really?
very closely by Kipik and then Weird.
Yeah, I don't think Kipik have the majority in any of them. Maybe in some of the other servers. Yeah, he'll probably end up Naren, won't he? That's my
Probably.
guess.
Well, any of the duchies in the northeast of Alicia are all majority Kipik. So, yeah, all that broadleaf forest there are all majority Kipik. But the kingdom as a whole, the majority is going to be Naren.
Yep. Let's move on to Bordweall then.
Hell yeah. Bordweall is best one. Yeah.
Another majority Naren kingdom.
Yep, which means I'm going to have a Naren monarch. I think, they're only, again, they haven't started picking the counties. The counties go next. What we've picked so far is the Double Duchy of Blood Oak and the Double Duchy of Blood Bowl, which we'll see whether it's going to be practical or not to fold Blood Bowl, which was originally designated to be Blood Oak, but because of the limitations that were put on, for understandable reasons, by Soulbound Studios for merging accounts and title transfers, that we had to kind of separate it. We've done a little bit of switching up, and I'll get into that also in a little while with another image. But I'll call him one of our friends over in Fortuna, was kind enough who still had access to, and that's our fault on that, who still had access to our planning of where we were going to put our counties and everything, was kind enough to share that link on the COE forums and make that available to everybody, including to people who, I guess because of the recent drama, stated that that they were going to be placing throwaway count packages in Bordweall, and specifically in the Blood Oak area, just to mess with, which is fine. To me, that's all part of the game. That's all part of the Dance of Dynasties and part of the game. So that's all good.
They like the good company, D.
It's what? Sorry.
They like the good company.
Exactly. So one of the titles that we had here for our stream today was The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. So let me quickly go over the good. When I started to place live, I forgot when we went live. I think it was last Thursday night or Friday, whenever it was. I was not able to actually make my selection because I noticed that it wasn't applying the bonuses to my settlement, and I didn't want to click OK and then have them not count. Snipe Hunter was kind enough to be attending that that live stream, and he said, "Yeah, it looks like a bug, so don't do it." And I think that was at our regular time, so probably about Pacific time. I'm going about 5:30 p.m. And Adam was going to be picking his kingdom on his Twitch, his live stream, I think about 2-3 hours later. And whilst Adam was streaming, now remember that this is after hours time. The studio should already be closed down and everything like that. They actually found out what the fix was. One of the members of the studio was in touch with me and asking, "Hey D, try it now. Is it working?" And I would try, and a couple of times it didn't, and then they figured out what it was and they fixed it on the spot. And I've got to say that, I think you people know me by now. I certainly don't mind calling out the studio when I think they've made a mistake and a blunder, and I'll be the first one to give them kudos when I think they're doing something right.
Good customer service.
Yeah, and I think they stepped above and beyond and beyond my expectations in terms of getting that fixed, kind of like after hours, for want of a better word. I think they did a great job on that. And then when I did upgrade, funny enough, to and got the settlement, it stayed as a town, so there was another bug, right? And I know that they had noticed that bug. Several people had reported it, so I didn't kind of like report that. And that one they got resolved relatively quickly as well. And so I think, as I say, kudos to the studio for getting two bugs fixed on relatively short notice and figuring out what it was and getting it done and handled. Now for the bad. We won't stay on this one for very long, but if you can open up Blood Bowl there, please, Noz.
Up.
Colder. Well, there you go.
Alrighty. So this is our double Duchy of Blood Bowl that, as I say, we hope to get folded into Blood Oak with a Cetisim if that's possible. And you'll notice that there is a very large county here. It's currently called Brown Bone Grove, which was its original county. It's a 6-county, I think, and it's the area that in Bordweall we've been calling the Syndicate. It's not all of it, but it represents about half of the area that we're going to be designating to 100% just to making resources. It doesn't matter whether it's growing trees or flax or food, whatever is kind of like needed, particularly by the Brunel Shipwrights Company, who we strongly support in their goal of wanting to be the premier shipbuilders on the entire server. And I got a message from I'm not going to say who it is, Noz, as to who placed these double Dutchies, but I got a message saying they're disallowing the Bloodthorn Syndicate, which is the name that we wanted for this county, because it's a syndicate of around about 12 counties all working together. And I kind of I misunderstood. And I'm like, what do you mean they're disallowing it? I know there's that little bit that juts out at the top, but, we placed according to their rules. It's like, no, you don't understand. It's the name. And I'm like, the name? What the hell is wrong with the Bloodthorn Syndicate? They haven't officially denied it. No, apparently what they're going to be doing is they're going to be voting on it. And obviously there can't be an issue with Bloodthorn because we've got Blood Bowl and Blood Oak. So apparently the issue, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, and I don't want to speculate, but apparently the issue is with the word syndicate. And, if you do a Merriam-Webster Google search, it's not an offensive name. It's one of the things shows that it's associated with the mafia, but we're using it in its kind of like official meaning, which is kind of like a group of individuals or groups of people who get together, for a common business source or venture or whatever the case might be. And even if we were using it in a deviant manner, it's like, Snipe Hunter at one time said, we expect 15% of the population to be deviant. So, can you not use, the Brotherhood anymore because that has bad connotations, or Thieves Guild, or not mention that somebody's a rogue or a bandit because that might have bad connotations? I mean, I didn't quite get it. I'm not going to stay on it because it's not a big deal. If push comes to shove, we'll find another word for it that won't be as good because this is the word we wanted. I just found it very funny that they're spending time to put like a vote together on the word syndicate.
I don't find it funny at all. I find it kind of sad that they're wasting time debating on whether or not a group of counties should be called a syndicate. That's silly. But we're not using, we're not destroying immersion or naming it freaking actual town names or Star Trek Galactica, or you know what I mean? Like,
what if we wanted?
It doesn't make sense.
But what if we wanted it to be evil?
Oh, I know.
Well, that's my point.
Bad.
I mean, I get that they want to, prevent names like, I think there was Caspian's Bane was one that was refused. I get them kind of like, wanting to somewhat monitor it, but it's it's whatever. It's not a big deal. I just found it strange, and I don't want to give the impression, because I'm not under the impression that they're sitting around this table for hours debating whether it should be allowed or not. It's just the fact that it was an issue in the first place surprised me, and we'll move on here. So, moving on to the, as a matter of fact, Noz, if you can scroll a little bit to the left, so you've got kind of like the left of that double duchy in the image would be great. Because that right there would be perfect. Thank you. Because what I want to do is I want to talk about, what's going to be the ugly. It might still happen during Duke. If a Duke rogue places and upsets somebody's placement, which would most likely happen if somebody was going to be placing in Bordweall or in Kairos or in Fortuna, and it might very well happen to us here in Bordweall. I was talking with somebody that was actually very, very polite and saying, hey, I've got a Duke package. I haven't really done anything, probably a little bit late now for me to be coming in. Are all your duchies spoken for? And I said, yep, they're all spoken for. And, I recommend, I thank them for having the courtesy of approaching me and checking first. And I gave them a recommendation to talk to, Fortuna and to talk to Kairos because they might be looking for a Duke. And they came back to me today and said, yeah, no. And I'm like, they're like, do you think I can move to NA West? And I'm like, they're not going to allow you to change servers. So that person might end up picking a duchy in Bordweall. And obviously, there's nothing that we can do about that. IP rightfully, I don't have an issue with this. IP rightfully is the determining factor. We've always known that. It's always been the case, kind of like almost since day one when I started 3 years ago. So Noz, what I would like to do is I'd like for you to put up an image that, guys, it's basically, it's going to be a version of this image that you're looking at right now. So we had kind of like this quandary as to what are we going to do with people that make rogue placements. And it's like, some people are like, oh, well, just kill them all kind of thing, and I'm
no
like,
one would ever say that.
Yeah, some kingdoms, and we kind of like had that mentality as well for quite a while. And I'm not even saying now, I'm not speaking on behalf actually right now of Bordweall, but I'm just speaking now as the Duke of Blood Oak. Is what we've decided to do in Blood Oak is, and as this says, this is just a test image only. This image isn't accurate. But we're going to be releasing over the weekend, before the counts start their picks, we're going to be releasing a map of the entirety of, hey, Adam, how you doing, mate? We're going to be releasing a map of the entirety of the Blood Oak territory. And what we're going to do on there, we're not going to put any names in, but we're going to have red counties and we're going to have green counties. So we're going to try and make it as clear as possible and as open as possible that the red counties are counties where we really don't want you to place. These are where, our members who've been building communities within Bordweall for 1, 2, and even as long as 3 years, this is where they're placing. This is where they've chosen to place. Does your IP give you the right to place there? 100% yes, absolutely it does. You have that right. You have the right to disrupt plans that somebody else has been making, again, whether it's for a year, 2 years, or 3 years, and they have the right to basically remove you should they wish to. And we don't want to be seen as kind of like, there's a lot of shit going on the forums right now. Or, gee, Bordwall's the bully and this and that and a whole bunch of other drama crap set up by a group that are well known for their trolling. And so we're going to categorically show. Now, some of these red counties might be taken during domain and settlement selection. Some of these red counties will be purchased during reverse auction, and some of them might not actually be captured until game starts and we overthrow the NPC count, because that is the plan. And that's where, for example, we've got some counties that have got 12 mayors, right? And the county that they're going in has only got 3 settlements, so they've got to be placing their mayors around them in the neighboring counties, etc. And so I was asked, when I introduced this to our people just to get some feedback on it, it was like, well, aren't you helping the trolls here? Aren't you showing them where they should place if they want to fuck us over? And the answer is categorically yes. That is exactly what we're doing. Because what I don't want is what I'll call an innocent placing in a red county and basically losing their package, because that is what will happen, or at least that's what we will try to make happen. And I won't make any secrets about that. There are plenty of spare and open counties throughout all of Bordweall, whether that's in the grasslands, the woodland, savanna, or the swamp, where you will be welcomed. Pick a green county, we'll work with you. We're not being cliquey or hey, you're out of here. But naturally, I want my PvPers on the borders, right? Adam will agree with this. It's not because you're going to go and start a war with somebody that day or anything like that. It's cross-border skirmishing between kingdoms is going to happen. That's your PvP is going to need an outlet so that you don't want them beating up on your own citizens within your own kingdom. So, we expect to be having a little bit of friendly PvP with Bombastus up there in Elysia or along the Fortuna border, etc. We'll even expect some down south with Kairos, our allies, because a lot of the people, in fact, the vast majority of players that are going to make up our kingdoms, they haven't even heard of the game yet. They're going to be joining at game launch. They don't give a shit about. They'll have never heard of Bordweall or Vornair or Elysia or Fortuna or whatever. They won't, pardon the French, but they won't give a fuck about it. They're here to have fun. They're here to play. And if they settle on the border, they're not going to want to take a 5-hour long ship ride all the way up to north. And it's kind of Adam's differing on the point there, so we'll get to that in a little while. And so even I lost my train of thought on that. But my point being is that we're kind of like, we have a way that we want to place our counties, and I believe we have the right to do so. People have, as Adam said, it's a game, and I agree with that. People have the right to disrupt that. But now they're kind of like, they can't say, oh, I didn't know I was going into a reserved county, because we're going to make it very, very public. We'll make a post on the forums, and I'll probably try update that map. Well, I won't have to, because the ones we reserve are the ones we want, and that won't change,
But do people have the right to purchase a very expensive tavern and disrupt the placement process of an entire kingdom? I think that's something that happened recently. We had someone purchase a tavern for $1,000 or $1,500 or something, and that and very successfully played himself as a victim and us a bully because we weren't playing nice, but at the same time was pulling antics such as creating events to displace current counts that had planned to pick in certain areas.
I think I can address. Yeah, I think I can address that. And obviously, Jin's here and we're trying to de-escalate the situation. I think that it was a totally shit move on Jin's part to basically say, hey, I don't want to lose my $1,200 tavern, but if somebody wants to place their county, anybody from outside of Bordweall or including Bordweall wants to place their county here on my legendary tavern, they can place it here. And in doing so, what they'll be doing is they'll be displacing one of our counts that's paid $1,000 for their county. So I find it a little bit hypocritical that Jin's okay with fucking other people over to save his own skin, kind of thing, And I'll call you out all day on that, Jin, mate. and that's just how it is.
No, I give him kudos, D. That was absolutely brilliant, because in the court of public opinion, he crucified us on that. I don't know how he was able to legitimize his $1,000 purchase while completely delegitimizing an entire kingdom's, a quad duchy's purchase and literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, that was irrelevant. Fuck your 3 years of plans. My little tavern's more important, you know. But you're right. We did have a long talk, and we did agree to, you know, reduce the hostilities and the poking of sticks of one another. But it is a very recent topic and relevant and one to talk about. But we have since agreed to certain terms and are working to return to our original plans of working together and helping him be successful with his tavern. That will, however, require that we both sides maintain those terms. And we haven't agreed to any timelines. We agreed to terms. I think the biggest mistake that we made initially with our approach to Jen and his legendary tavern was that we welcomed him with open arms, and we didn't ask for anything in return. I think that was a huge mistake on our part, and I think going forward in the future, anytime he has an ask of us, we should have an ask of him. And I think that's only fair. We're more than happy to return to original terms and help him be successful. But, you know, our initial, for lack of better terms, our initial hospitality was kind of given a big fuck you and taken advantage of. So we can't allow that to happen again. But I hope we do get to a point, since we have reduced hostilities recently, that we can continue to work together come time for launch.
Yeah, I would tend to agree and echo that. I mean, to me, whether the tavern is in Jin's hands or anybody else's hands, it doesn't matter to me. And, you know, it doesn't. I am somebody that dislikes drama. And I think basically, you know, moving forward, I'm willing to kind of like, in a way, wipe the slate clean, but be wary, I guess, is the best way for me to phrase it. You know, I will, you know, if Jin and I have conversations in the future, I will ask for permission to record it, and if not, it will all be done in text chat, because some things have definitely been twisted around, and you know, I don't like how that's been done, but I also get it's part of the game. I mean, Adam and I have freaking bumped heads fairly hard on some things. And again, I think we both recognize that's just a part of the game kind of thing, you know. And you know, when Adam and I chat on a kind of like person to person level, there's not only I think there's not any kind of like, none of that translates over. I like to think that we have at least somewhat of a respect and friendship for each other. So it is possible to do. I think, you know, some people are kind of like not able to draw the line and the distinction between kind of like the game and kind of like where you start fucking somebody over kind of thing, you know? So it's all good.
We're going to talk about Dutch now?
Yeah, let's Noz has moved on to the Settlers of Illyria, also known as the Reverse Auction. I'll let you guys chat about that for a bit.
Oh, I was really excited that this post came out, but I don't think they pinged the community when it did, so I think a lot of people missed it. They announced the mins and max prices for the Dutch auctions, which is going to be after all the placements are done. It's 45 days where anything that's not purchased is going to go up for auction. And as the time goes down, they said it's going to go down by 1% in price every day for 45 days. And if you scroll down, you can actually see the min prices and the max prices for the duchies and the counties and the cities.
And Jen said this is quite the poke nozzle, unlike what we talked about last night and the night before. He's asked me several times to share screenshots, and I will not share screenshots of me talking to anyone else. And I know you wanted to move on, D, but I'll happily share screenshots between me and Jen. So we have agreed to terms. If he wants to back out on those terms, I'll gladly share those screenshots. But as far as we're concerned, we're keeping our word and we're moving forward. If he wants to back out on that because he doesn't like what I say or how I say it, I'm old crusty ass ex-Marine, so I mean, I'm going to say things that might hurt your feelings, but you know, it's all in good fun.
We're not stating them on the forums. The agreement was not to air the stuff on the forums. Yeah. We don't monitor. Unlike you, we don't really monitor you and don't give a shit what you say in your Discord. We can't control what our people say in our Discord, and this is our live stream. You know, if you think it's a poke, you know, it's very easy to disconnect from the stream, Jin. You know, you can kind of like portray things the way that you want to on the forums and stuff, and that's fine when you control it. But I mean, maybe you want to share with the people in here that when you shared with me the location of the tavern on August the 24th, you basically told me, before you shared where it was, you confirmed where my royal duchy was going to be, the royal county. And what was your request to me or suggestion? That I might want to consider moving the royal county because it would be too close to your legendary tavern? I mean, come on, dude. Get a fucking grip on reality. You're kind of like, you're going to be like a guest in our community. We want you here as a guest, but I don't want a dick as a guest. And you're acting like a dick. And
get the fuck out of your royal county. What are you? Because I bought a tavern.
yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
Move it, you know.
Whatever. He's very good at what he does, and I gave him props. I gave him kudos.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought the meme about it was really clever. I thought it portrayed us as the bad guys really well. So props to Jin on that. And as I say, you know, but you want to poke Jin, we'll poke back. You know, it's tit for tat. Basically, the ball's in your court as to where it goes. You know.
Whoever did that comic.
Going back to reverse auction.
The comic was really exciting. I enjoyed reading it.
It did make Borne's night when you put that guy in with the maple leaf eye patch. He's having a maple leaf eye patch made in real life, Jin. So, you know, that's a nod and kudos to you on that.
I was really jealous that I didn't get to be a henchman. Very sad.
Alrighty, back to reverse auction because we've only got a few minutes left of the stream.
Yeah, but so with this, they did talk about it'll go down in price 1% of the price every day. That they'll range based on the algorithm and what their starting price is going to be. And they also mentioned in this post that there's going to be like spontaneous sales on them that'll last like 2 or 3 hours on any just a random location. So if you have your eye on something, you can watch for those sales that may or may not hit the area you're looking. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing to put in. It was like, oh, and surprise, like blue light sales or something like that. I am kind of like, we all knew that the Dutch auction prices were going to be lower, but I'm still surprised by how much lower they were than like Kickstarter price. They did say you have to buy, if you want a count or a duchy or a county or duchy, you'd have to buy the one before it, but still surprised by the prices, but I always am.
Cool. Anybody have any thoughts and comments on the reverse auction?
Yeah, I just want it to be over with.
I want to play. Can I play, please? I want my.
Do you think if they don't sell them all, that kind of like, you know, they're saying it's a one-time deal for 45 days, but we've seen this kind of like, you know, with the Duke packages and the county packages and the mayor packages. Do you think they do it for 45 days, basically, for want of a better word, milk the community or crowdfund from the community as much as they can? And then I still think that we're probably a good anywhere between 18 to 30 months from game launch. And so do you think that, you know, that they do it for 45 days, leave it be for a year, and then in a year's time, you know, boom, you know, we're going to do another reverse auction kind of thing when they've got fresh people in and everything like that, you know?
It might show up in the Kickstarter anniversary. That wouldn't surprise me. They did say that some of these are going to be bought by quote unquote NPC counties or NPC counts or NPCs in general. So some of them will disappear for that. But I don't think it's going to be a large percentage at all.
And Jen's saying this was not the right way to stop the poking, in my opinion. See, and this is the problem. Jen purchased the fucking tavern, and he thinks that everything we do is supposed to revolve around him now. I'm sorry, Jen, it doesn't. And I'm not poking at you. I'm just restating what fucking happened over the last couple of weeks, and it was silly. And I stated that we've moved past that. But again, if you want to break terms, then we'll show proof that you've broken terms. But what I'll admit openly on air is that under no uncertain terms have I agreed to be your personal fucking best friend every day and have all these goddamn conversations with you you've been trying to have with me lately. You know, I'm very busy. I'm taking care of my community, which is my first and primary concern. Your tavern doesn't mean shit to us, and we're sick of wasting our time on it. So you can either fucking play ball and enjoy and have a good time in your fucking tavern and stop fucking poking at us and leave us the fuck alone about it come launch, or you can keep pissing our entire community off. That's entirely up to you, buddy. Have a good day. Yeah. Good night. See you on the flip side. We've agreed to reduce hostilities, but I've not agreed to ignore what has happened. And you've very cleverly given your side of it with your fucking victim stories. We're just stating our side of the story, and we said we've moved past it. But if you want to reignite it and break your terms, then you're more than welcome to, friend. I'm sorry.
Wow, and I thought I fucking went into rants. All right, cool.
I just want to talk about conspiracy theories, guys.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Oh.
We gotta stop what we're doing and entertain your whining ass every fucking day, dude. I'm sick of it. Anyway, we were saying.
I was excited about the fact that there's going to be NPC purchasers. I wonder if they've actually reserved some and like they're just like if somebody goes to claim it, it'd be like, sorry, you can't. If they have their eye on any locations for these NPC storylines that they've mentioned, because it's in the post about it. And I want to know how many it's going to be. If it's going to be like one per duchy, one per kingdom, none, maybe. I don't know. Alex, what do you think?
Oh, I'm still trying to exhale on that one. Okay, so I missed that last pit, Renegade. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just wondering how many you thought there were going to be NPCs, because they mentioned the NPCs purchasing.
NPCs for counties and like settlements. For settlements, I do foresee NPC settlements. Counties, I think there's going to be far fewer than we originally thought there was.
But they said in this post that they're going to like lock some out that are going to be purchased by NPC for basically quest lines, I'm guessing, which kind of makes me wonder about like organized quests, because they said that wasn't necessarily going to be a thing, but now I'm like, world events, I want to see them.
Yeah.
Thank you for contributing. You can go back to
your you're most welcome. I'm so glad I could contribute.
Oh, I want stuff locked in. I want stuff ready, because at least then people can go to their communities and really truly say, this is where we are. This is what we are. I think we'll actually see a resurgence in the community after domain and settlement selection, even before you can play anything or see anything, just because people will be able to actually advertise and recruit properly then, versus now where it's like, I think I'm gonna be here, maybe, probably.
Yeah, we're all ready for this to be over and everything settled, because all of our plans really are kind of we're all kind of a holding pattern until we're here, we're set in stone, and
Well, I think, and I want to address something that Ruisart has mentioned here. It's this funny thing they said in the past that they didn't want any NPC counties and duchies. Now they are reserving them. And, you know, I'll have to beg to differ on that one, because, and I can't state, I can't state too much, because, part of this was said kind of like in 10K, NDA streams, like, again, quite a while ago, but there was never any mention of a reverse auction. There was never any mention of not having NPC counties. As a matter of fact, back then, a number of the questions were centered around, how do we deal with NPC counties at launch? How many NPC counties do we expect to be able to take during Kingdoms of Illyria? And so NPC counties were actually always a part of the dialogue, to my recollection, So, yeah. So, things change. I get that. I'm not bitching about it. Probably had I known now what had I known then what I know now, is what I'm trying to say, is I'd have probably gone about picking our our counts and countesses differently, because our goal back then, based upon information that we did get, was to be kind of like taking over NPC counties. My goal wasn't to kind of like flood with lots and lots of counts and countesses. It changed. I get that, to a certain degree, the game changes, in part during development. And to me, this was one that was, it's fine. It makes sense. I'm not going to have too much of an issue of it, kind of thing, But yeah.
How do you feel now that you're locked in?
I feel good.
Probably relieved.
I feel good. Well, nobody was going to be able to take it from me because I'm the first one to place, right? So
Right.
I don't have, I think, the same angst and anxiety that a lot of our dukes are going through right now, and in turn, a lot of our counts and our mayors will. And that's again why we're going to make that map, so that hopefully, the reasonable people can understand and respect that, and the ones that kind of like want to be disruptive know where they can be disruptive. It's all good, because again, the trolls aren't going to win this one. We're doing this basically to try and make sure that those that want to place but aren't maybe yet a part of the kingdom, and they're still an independent count or an independent mayor, that they don't kind of like unintentionally get screwed,
Giving them as many chances as possible to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all I can do, right? I think that it's a reasonable thing to do. And, if somebody isn't paying attention to the forums, if somebody doesn't want to contact the local duke or count, there's not much more I can do. I don't have ESP to know who all the independent counts are, etc., and where they're going to be placing,
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen some people come in and do it right, and then I've definitely seen some people come in and do it wrong, where they come in and say, this is where I'm going. They don't like ask, they just declare, which is immediately not, it's like going into somebody's house and saying, I live here now. It's definitely not the same mentality as saying, can I come in? And, that's fine. I think there's a lot of people who are going to come in and say, I live here now. And those are people that they're coming in to be antagonistic, and they add to the game. We can't pretend that they don't. They're an important part of it too. You just better know what they're getting into. I think that's across all the kingdoms.
Yep. It's definitely it's on them to make sure that they see what we have.
Yes. Naslim D, are you worn out?
I think we're at the top of the hour, and we're about done, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you all for enjoying the BBC. Follow, subscribe. I don't know what the things are on Twitch. I don't pay that much attention. I don't get.
We really don't let you out much, do we?
No.
Yep. And we will have, although probably if you're going to follow domain and settlement selection, this probably won't be news to you, but our stream, and we have a guest showing up on our live stream in 2 weeks' time, and they'll be explaining kind of like a move that maybe some people weren't expecting to be happening during domain and settlement selection. So look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks' time.
More surprises. D, I was just capturing all the screenshots I promised to release, given if Jen goes back on his terms. And you guys know me. I don't hold nothing back. And, I may have just caused him to get his feelings hurt and turn all his stupid shit back on again. But, if Naslim saying something mean to you causes you to start creating events that disrupts an entire kingdom's selection process by encouraging rogue placements north of their kingdom capital, we've had some people in our community say, I haven't seen Jen do anything wrong. Well, if you don't fucking see anything wrong with that, then nothing he does is going to be wrong. That is the most slimy fucking thing you could do. And if it's wrong for me to state what has happened in the past and say that we've moved past that and, we're going to continue to work together and we've come to terms and we've agreed on things, then if he goes back on those terms, then that's on him, not on us, and we'll be able to show that. But he is a good character, and we're going to make sure we document everything going forward. And this fucking public crucifixion is not going to happen again in the future. So anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Alrighty. Take care, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Guys.